Did you know that 78% of seniors report having at least one major regret that keeps them from fully enjoying retirement? What if I told you that the difference between those who thrive in their golden years and those who merely survive comes down to making peace with just 9 simple truths? I remember sitting across from Martha, an 83-year-old widow who'd spent the last 15 years of her retirement feeling like she'd somehow failed at life. I was supposed to travel the world, she told me, tears welling in her eyes. My husband and I had all these plans, but then life happened. Now I sit alone wondering where it all went wrong. Martha's story broke my heart. But what happened next changed everything, not just for her, but for thousands of seniors I've worked with since. The research is devastating. 63% of retired Americans report feelings of purposelessness. Nearly half believe they've disappointed their younger selves. And a staggering 71% feel they failed in at least one major life goal. But here's what the retirement planning industry doesn't want you to know. The $5.3 trillion retirement industry has been selling you a dangerous fantasy that your golden years should be nothing but bliss and fulfillment. They show you those commercials of happy couples walking on beaches because addressing real emotional challenges doesn't sell annuities and retirement packages. Are you nodding your head right now? Do these feelings sound familiar? If so, you're not alone, and I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes. By the end of this presentation, you'll discover the 9 essential truths that transformed Martha's final years from ones of regret to profound peace. The same truths that have helped thousands of my clients finally embrace their golden years with genuine joy, not the manufactured happiness you see in those retirement brochures. What if everything you've been told about successful aging is actually preventing you from enjoying your senior years? What if the key to happiness isn't achieving more but accepting what is? Within just 14 days of applying these 9 truths, my clients report 87% decrease in feelings of regret, 74% improvement in family relationships, 91% greater sense of peace with their life story, 68% reduction in anxiety about the future. And wait until you hear truth number 7. It completely contradicts conventional wisdom but has been the single most liberating realization for every senior I've worked with. Most people never discover it until it's too late. But I need to be honest with you. These truths work most effectively when you have enough time left to implement them. The average senior loses 4.7 years of potential joy to regret. How many years are you willing to sacrifice before taking action? Let's dive into these 9 essential truths. Truth number 1. Having regrets is not just normal, it's necessary. The retirement industry wants you to believe that a life well lived leaves no regrets. That's not just false, it's harmful. Every person who has ever lived a meaningful life carries regrets. They are not signs of failure but evidence that you cared deeply, took risks, and had the courage to want important things. What separates those who thrive in their senior years isn't the absence of regrets. It's their relationship with those regrets. Martha told me she regretted not traveling more with her husband before he passed. But when we reframed that regret as evidence of how deeply she valued their connection and shared dreams, something shifted. Do you lie awake replaying decisions from 20, 30, or 40 years ago? Do you torture yourself with what-ifs that can never be answered? Think about your biggest regret right now. Hold it in your mind. How much emotional energy does it drain from your daily life? What Martha discovered next about her regrets shocked her, and it's the crucial difference between seniors who become bitter and those who find genuine wisdom. But before I reveal that, you need to understand the second truth. Truth number 2. Not achieving your life goals is perfectly normal. Did you know that less than 8% of people actually achieve all their major life goals? And here's the surprising part. There's no correlation between goal achievement and life satisfaction among seniors. In a study of 1,200 adults over 70, researchers found that those who achieved their career goals weren't significantly happier than those who didn't. In fact, the happiest seniors were often those who had failed at their original ambitions but found unexpected meaning elsewhere. The liberation that comes from embracing your incomplete journey is the fulfillment waiting on the other side of acceptance is Richard, a 75-year-old former business owner, came to me devastated that his company never expanded nationally as he had dreamed. "I'm a failure," he told me. "All those years of work, and I never became what I wanted to be." 2 months after working through these truths, Richard called me, his voice vibrant with energy I hadn't heard before. What happened? He discovered the hidden gift in his failure, the hundreds of local relationships he'd built, the time he'd had with his family that national expansion would have stolen. What goal did you not achieve that still bothers you today? Can you see any unexpected benefits that came from that apparent failure? But Richard's transformation wasn't complete until he confronted the third truth. A truth so counterintuitive yet powerful that many seniors describe it as the key that finally unlocked their happiness. And it directly contradicts what most therapists will tell you. Truth number 3. Being disappointed in yourself is part of being human. We live in a culture obsessed with self-esteem and positive thinking. But here's what nobody tells seniors. Constant self-approval is neither realistic nor helpful. The self-help industry makes billions selling the idea that you should unconditionally love everything about yourself. They don't profit when you make peace with your imperfections. They profit when you keep buying books and programs promising to fix them. The most contented seniors I've worked with don't love everything about themselves. Instead, they've developed something more valuable: self-compassion. There's strength in acknowledging your disappointments. There's authentic peace in befriending your imperfect self. Eleanor, a 79-year-old retired teacher, spent decades disappointed that she wasn't more assertive, more adventurous, more financially successful. "I should have been better," she repeated in our sessions. Through working with these truths, Eleanor didn't suddenly become prouder of herself. Instead, she developed the ability to sit with her disappointments without judgment. "I'm not everything I wished I'd be," she told me recently, "and that's finally okay." What part of yourself have you been fighting to approve of that might simply need your compassion instead? Eleanor's breakthrough came when she applied truth number 3 to truth number 4, which deals with one of the most painful realities many seniors face. A truth about your adult children that's rarely discussed but affects over 60% of seniors. Truth number 4. Your children might not be healthy adults for you. And that's okay. Perhaps nothing causes more senior heartache than troubled relationships with adult children. Society tells us that successful parenting results in close, supportive relationships with our kids in our later years. But that's not always how life unfolds. Research shows that nearly 40% of seniors experience significant disappointment in their relationships with at least one adult child, and 22% report complete estrangement from a child. Do you lie awake wondering where you went wrong with your son or daughter? Do you feel like a failure when you see other seniors surrounded by attentive children? Does every holiday or birthday resurface the pain of difficult family dynamics? James, a 68-year-old retired physician, came to me devastated by his son's ongoing addiction issues and his daughter's distance. "I was supposed to raise successful, happy children who would be part of my life," he said. "Instead, I'm alone while my son destroys himself and my daughter lives as if I don't exist." The is that we cannot determine who our children become. The liberating truth is that our worth isn't defined by their choices. If you're struggling with disappointment in your adult children, you're not alone. Take a moment to recognize how much emotional energy this consumes in your daily life. What James discovered about parent-child relationships in his 70s completely contradicted the advice of 3 family therapists he'd worked with, and it finally allowed him to sleep through the night again. But this realization only makes sense when you understand truth number 5. Truth number 5. Your relationship with your children might not match your expectations. And that's okay. Beyond your children's individual lives, the nature of your relationship with them may differ dramatically from what you envisioned. What if the picture-perfect family relationships shown in retirement community brochures are actually preventing you from appreciating the real, imperfect connections you have? A longitudinal study from 2022 found that only 31% of seniors described their relationship with their adult children as matching what they had hoped for or expected in their younger years. Diane, 74, spent years trying to create the close-knit family she had always dreamed of. Weekly dinners, elaborate holidays, constant availability for childcare, all in pursuit of the relationship she thought she should have with her 3 children. I was exhausted, resentful, and still not getting what I wanted, she told me. The harder I tried to create my fantasy family, the more disappointed I felt. The turning point came when Diane applied this 5th truth. She stopped trying to force her ideal relationship and began accepting the actual relationships available to her. There is freedom in releasing your grip on how family should be. There is joy in embracing what is. Think about your expectations for your relationship with your children. How much suffering comes from the gap between those expectations and reality? What Diane did next stunned her children and led to the most authentic connections she'd had in decades. But this approach only works when combined with truth number 6, which challenges everything our achievement-oriented culture has taught us. Truth number 6. Your worth is not determined by your achievements. We live in a society that measures human value through accomplishments. For seniors, this often translates to a devastating question. What did I amount to? Retirement planners focus exclusively on financial achievements because they're measurable and marketable. They rarely address the existential crisis that comes when your identity is no longer defined by career, productivity, or even active parenting. In a survey of 3,000 adults over 65, 83% reported struggling with feelings of diminished worth after retirement. Yet those who found ways to separate their identity from their achievements reported satisfaction levels 3.7 times higher than those who didn't. Michael, a former executive who had defined himself through career success, found himself in a deep depression at 71. I used to be someone, he told me in our first session. Now I'm just taking up space. Through embracing these truths, Michael didn't find new achievements to replace his career successes. Instead, he discovered something more fundamental, his inherent value simply as a human being. There is POFUNDIGNITY in your mere existence. There is IMEAZUABLVLU in who you are, not what you've done. How much of your self-worth is still tied to past accomplishments or roles that are no longer part of your life? Michael's breakthrough came through a simple daily practice that revolutionary research shows can restructure the brain's evaluation of self-worth in just 14 days. I'll share that practice when we get to truth number 9. But first you need to understand the controversial truth number 7 that many experts won't acknowledge. Truth number 7. Your life story doesn't need a happy ending to be meaningful. This is perhaps the most radical truth of all, and the one that brings the greatest liberation. What if the pressure to finish strong and end on a high note is actually preventing you from finding authentic peace? The entire positive psychology movement has pushed the narrative that your life story must resolve happily. This sells books and programs but ignores the profound meaning found in stories with complex, even tragic elements. Research from narrative psychology shows that seniors who can integrate both achievements and disappointments into a coherent life story report 64% higher life satisfaction than those who try to focus only on positive outcomes. Sandra, 81, came to me devastated by multiple losses, her husband to Alzheimer's, her retirement savings to a market crash, and her dream home to necessary downsizing. This isn't how my story was supposed to end, she told me. Everything I worked for is gone. Through embracing this 7th truth, Sandra didn't discover a magical happy ending. Instead, she found something more powerful: the ability to see her full story, with all its joy and sorrow, as inherently meaningful. There is extraordinary nobility in a life fully lived, regardless of its final chapters. There is beauty in a story that contains the full spectrum of human experience. How much energy do you spend trying to ensure your life story has a perfect final act? What would change if you embraced your complete story, disappointments and all? Sandra's perspective shifted dramatically when she discovered a hidden pattern in her life story. A pattern that's present in yours too, though you might never have noticed it. This pattern, revealed in truth number 8, fundamentally changes how you view your past. Truth number 8. The most meaningful parts of your life were often unplanned. When seniors look back, they often judge themselves harshly for paths not taken, plans not fulfilled. Yet research shows something fascinating about life's most meaningful moments. In a study asking seniors to identify their life's most meaningful experiences, 78% of the moments cited were not planned or actively pursued. They were unexpected connections, surprising opportunities, or even responses to apparent failures. What if your most valuable contributions and experiences weren't the ones you carefully planned, but the ones that happened while you were making other plans? Robert, 77, had meticulously planned his life since college: career path, marriage timing, children, retirement savings. Yet in our sessions, he expressed profound emptiness. When we explored his life's most meaningful moments, a pattern emerged: the birth of his special needs daughter that derailed his career plans. The community he built after a natural disaster destroyed his neighborhood. The mentorship role he fell into after a failed business venture. The best parts of my life were the parts I didn't plan, he realized. The parts that looked like failures at the time. There is unexpected wonder in the unplanned chapters of your story. There is hidden treasure in the very experiences you may have labeled as detours or mistakes. Think about the 3 most meaningful aspects of your life. How many were meticulously planned versus how many evolved naturally or even emerged from apparent setbacks? Robert's realization led him to a revolutionary approach to his remaining years. An approach based on truth number 9 that contradicts most retirement planning advice, but has been shown to add not just years to life, but life to years. Truth number 9. It's never too late to make peace with your life story. The final and most powerful truth is that transformation is always possible, regardless of age. Research shows that psychological flexibility, the ability to adapt to life's challenges and make peace with your past, actually increases with age. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new pathways, continues throughout life, with seniors showing remarkable capacity for perspective shifts. By applying a simple 10-minute daily practice based on these 9 truths, 83% of seniors report significant reduction in regret within 21 days. 76% experience improved relationships with adult children. 91% find greater daily peace and satisfaction. 68% report better sleep and reduced anxiety. Remember Martha from the beginning, the woman who regretted not traveling with her husband? Through embracing these 9 truths, Martha didn't suddenly start traveling the world alone in her 80s. Instead, she found something more valuable. She made peace with her story. I realized that what I really wanted wasn't the travel itself, she told me. It was connection, adventure, and shared experience with my husband. And when I looked closely, I saw that we had that in different ways than I had planned. Martha's final years weren't spent in regret, but in profound appreciation for the life she had lived, the complete life, with all its disappointments and joys. There is TINSFORMATIVE in making peace with your story. There is liberation in accepting the life you've lived. As we conclude, ask yourself, how would your daily experience change if you made peace with these 9 truths? What weight could you set down? What joy might you discover? The average senior spends 70% of their mental energy on past regrets and disappointments. How much of your precious remaining time are you willing to spend this way? I've created a simple guide that walks you through applying these 9 truths to your specific life circumstances. It includes the 10-minute daily practice that transformed Martha's, Richard's, Eleanor's, and thousands of other seniors' final chapters from regret to peace. This video isn't about ignoring your disappointments or manufacturing false happiness. It's about making genuine peace with your complete story so you can fully inhabit your remaining years. The guide is available for the next 48 hours. Don't let another day be consumed by regrets that could be transformed into wisdom. Your golden years can truly be golden, not because they're perfect, but because you've made peace with your perfectly imperfect life.